Hello everybody, reported here at Ghost Financial, and in this video I'm going to be explaining how artificial scarcity works, as well as how you can apply this in real world, specifically with XRP. Now, a disclaimer I do have to say is that there is, I think, one or two mosquitoes in my room, and they have bit all of my feet, and so if I just take a break to scratch or something, that's why. It's summer in Texas, and I hate mosquitoes so much. I don't know what they're even used for. But, anyways, let's get into this. So, first things first, okay, we got to understand why I'm doing this. And this is because of XRP. XRP is a coin that everybody thinks is going to go to crazy, crazy amounts. Like, they're going to go to like 10, 20, 50, $100 per coin. And so people are literally just looking at the subjective price of this, $2.97. If it hits $100, that's a 33x of your money, which is that's insane. But people don't understand how market cap works. Okay? And that's the current market cap, 177 billion. It is the third largest cryptocurrency in the entire world, literally beating a stable coin, the most popular stable coin in the entire world as well. Excuse me, sorry. So, first of all, that's a little bit of a red flag. So, I'm going to explain why that's such a red flag. Okay? So, first things first, okay, it's the market cap. If we click on Ethereum, okay, we can see the market cap's really high, sure, but it's not really like that bad. Tether, I mean, that's not that bad. Solana's an important cryptocurrency, not too bad. But XRP is a bit of a peculiar thing. So let's look at XRP. All right. So first things first, I'm going to explain how artificial scarcity works. So let's say we have Ghost Coin, G Coin. Okay. Let's say we have, okay, that is a terrible X. 50 coins. Okay. 50 coins in total. So 50 coins is our supply. So supply equals 50. Okay? And let's say the cost of each coin is $100. $100. Okay, so cost per unit is equal to $100. Okay? And that division is basically cost per unit. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So now, let's say we have 3 people. Okay? Billy, Bob, and Joe. So we got Billy, we got Bob, and we got Joe. Okay, so Bill. That's a terrible B. Bob and Joe. Okay? So, first things first, okay? These are our fellas. All right, these are our dudes. Okay? So, what we're going to do, first things first, is we're going to give them some coins. So, out of the 50 total supply, okay, we're going to give them 15 each. Okay? So, 50 divided by 3 is equal to 15 each. Okay? So, each person is getting 15. All right? So, Bill gets 15, Bob gets 15, and Joe gets 15. Okay? Now remember, market price is $100 per coin. All right? So Bill, Bob, and Joe, okay, they paid 1,500 plus 1,500 plus 1,500. Okay? And this is equal to 4,500 in total. Okay? So their investment of 45 G coins, okay, 15 each. So here, I'll even write this out. So 15 x 15 x 15 equals 45 G. All right, 45 G coins, which is equal to $4,500. Okay, hopefully y'all are all following me by now. Okay, now What is smart drawing? How do I, like, okay, I'm just gonna have to do it like that. All right, so we got this diagram for now. Okay, so let's go. Man, I really wish there's like that handle tool. Ah, okay, there it is. How do I? Sorry, guys, I'm new to this whiteboard. All right, so we got that. Okay, so now there are. Oh, sorry. Okay, there's 45 G's. So now there is only 5 G coins left. Okay, now let's get Tom here. Tom. Okay, and let's get Alex in here. Actually, Alex will have a frown. I'll explain why. Okay, and here's Alex. So Alex, okay, wants the remaining 5 G coin. Okay, and Tom is a capitalist. All right. So first things first, we gotta think who is selling G coin. Okay, the value of G coin has gotten so scarce. Okay, so people are gonna pay premiums. All right. So Alex, his offer is the current market value, 100. Okay, but Tom is offering 200, right, or more. So let's say Alex. Okay, let's say Alex here. He knows that Tom also wants it. So in order for him not to buy from Tom, Alex is essentially going to pay $500 per coin. $500 per coin. Okay? So Alex pays $500 for all the G coin. Okay? So he pays for the remaining 5 G coin. So now Alex is the proud owner of the remaining last 5 G coin. Okay, and there's Tom here who has nothing. So Alex paid $2,500 in total. Okay, so remember Billy, Bob, and Joe. Okay, they each got it for $1,500. Remember that? Okay, and they got 15 each. So now, because it's the last traded price is $500 per coin, because that was the last price it was bought at, both Bill, Bob, and Joe's share 5x'd because their entry price, which was $100, right down here, $100, 5x'd. So in reality, all of these are now 5 times. Okay, imagine that, a 500% return. That is crazy. Now their shares of Gcoin are $7,500. 7.5k times, I'll write an X for that, times 3, which is equal to, I believe, 22,500. Yeah, I think so. So 22,500. Okay. And Alex over here, okay, has his 2,500. So in total, the entire circulating supply is worth $25,000. Okay. Originally, it was only $5,000 because, 50 coins, $100 each, which means the original circulating supply value, also known as market cap, was 5,000. Okay, now it's 25,000 because the last traded price is so high. Okay, now there are no more G coins in the entire world. Okay, G coin is done for. All right, nobody has G coin anymore. So this will just go up, right? People will just want G coin, so they'll see, because it has a finite supply. So people will just pay premiums. So let's say Tom over here. Okay, Tom. So I'm going to drag him all the way here. So let's say Tom. Okay, Tom. Let's say Tom is like, holy crap. Okay, Gcoin exploded in value. Let's say Tom, okay, he buys all of the Gcoin from everybody for an entire $1,000 per piece. So he has 50 G coin, okay, 50 G coin for $1,000 a piece, which is $50,000. So now the currently trading price is $1,000 per coin, okay, and it's $50,000. Okay, Tom is ecstatic. He's like, I have all the G coin in the world. I can control it. Now, this is Leonard. I'm gonna call him Leo. Interesting name, Leo. Okay. Now, one thing about Leo is that he's actually the owner of G coin. Okay, he was the person who created G coin. So Leo, okay, plot twist coming here. He actually has 50 more G coin that he hasn't told anybody about, and he hasn't publicly listed on the market. So Leo, okay, Leo has 50 G coin as well. Oh, sorry, that's not what that is. 50 G coin. Okay, 50 G coin, which is equal to another $50,000. So while Tom over here, okay, Tom, he's ecstatic that he owns all the G coin ever, okay, or he holds most of the G coin, okay. So he sells it to people. So like, let's say each of these circles represent. I'll do lines. So each of these represents different people, you know. So all of these people, right, for the total amount, they get distributed, you know. So Tom essentially just sells it off to everybody, okay? For, I don't know, 15, let's say 2,000 a piece. Let's say 2,000 a piece. Okay, let's just say 2,000 a piece. So that means that Tom has now turned his $50,000 investment into $100,000. Okay, because he's sold it. All right. So everybody's ecstatic. Now a lot of people have G coin. A whole bunch of people have G coin, but in total there's 50 in total. Okay. Now Leo, the owner, says, "Oh, now that it's worth 100,000, let's go release some more into the wild." Okay. So Leo, who sees that the price of each G coin has spiked up like crazy, he's like, I think it's time to sell my G coin. All right. So he goes to sell his G coin, okay, that people thought didn't exist. Like, none of these people thought that G coin existed. But Leo actually had the G coin. He just never released it into the circulation. So now there's 100 G coins. Okay, now there's 100 G coins. And let's say Leo sells it for market price at, or let's say he sells it for $100,000. Or I'm sorry, let's say he wants to liquidate his $100,000. So he sells it for 1,000. Or okay, current market price is what do you call it? $2,000. That's $100,000 that he technically owns, but he needs to sell it. So in order to liquidate it, aka sell it, he needs to sell it at a discount so people actually buy his G coin, because otherwise that would cook the economy. So he sells all of his G coin for only $1,000. So now there's a total of 100 G coin instead of the original 50, and now it's worth 1,000 a piece because the market cap remains the exact same, just because of the valuations, right? Leo had to literally offload all of his G coin into the open market, so people bought it at a discount. So these people over here, okay, these people over here who bought at $2,000 a piece got completely screwed over. Okay, so the price of G coin, let's break this down. So it originally started at $100. Okay, then it went to $500 when it went to Alex. Then it went to $1,000 with Tom. Okay, and then now, hold on, dude, I hate this so much. How do I, like, 1 second. I just want to be able to move my damn thing. Okay, there we go. All right, and then now it was at $2,000 a pop. Okay, because of Tom selling it to everybody. Okay, so now it was like 2,000. So these original investors who sold off their G coin for a little bit of profit thought they were happy, but they see the price now. They're like, holy shit, we could have been rich. But these people who bought it for $2,000, they just got screwed over because Leo had the supply. Okay, he already had 50 more G coin. Everybody thought, everybody thought that there was only 50 G coin in circulation. When Leo released 50 more, it just completely halved the price entirely. It just completely split it in half. Okay? So it went back to the $1,000 because that's how much Leo was selling it for, and that's how much people are willing to pay. So now G Coin's at $1,000 per piece. So all of these people who paid $2,000 got completely screwed over. So now everybody is like, holy crap, we thought that G Coin was scarce. It only had 50 units. Now it has 100. I'm not paying more than 1,000 for this. People are now scared at the fact that they might just print some more. They inflated it technically, right? This is what America kind of does as well. They just, print a ton of money, and that's what inflation is. Like, you could brush up on that later, but that's what essentially, he just did, right? He just released so much supply for no reason. Okay, I'm going to explain why all of this matters. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit to the right here. Let's take a look at XRP. All right, let's take a look at XRP. What the hell? What is this? Coin market cap. All right, let's take a look at XRP. Okay, so first of all, the maximum supply is 100 billion XRP. The circulating supply is 60 billion XRP. So the owners have 40% of the supply in reserve. Now, people keep saying, oh, XRP is going to be used for all of these banking institutions. They're going to be used for payments and stuff like that. In order for that to happen, okay, XRP has to fully release their entire supply, because there's no way any US traded company is going to allow is going to use payment processing and stuff like that, and like money transactions without, they only own whatever's in circulation. Like, let's say all of these banks now adopt XRP and Ripple technology, okay? And Ripple, the owner, have 40% of the supply. They could just offload that into the market and collapse prices. So that means all of these banks that are holding XRP as collateral for US dollars or whatever currency, they're going to it's just going to have, it's not going to be as valuable. So that's why I think XRP is not a good buy. And also, when everybody's talking about a crypto, that's usually the time to start selling and profit taking. I mean, if you look at open interest, you can see that XRP is kind of going down. People are losing interest. I mean, it's stupid. And look at my example again. Okay, I'm going to run down my example. Okay, once more. So 50 G coins in total. Okay, Billy, Bob, and Joe buy 15 of them each for $100. So they each pay $1,500, which is $4,500 in total. Okay, and they have 45 coins. Then, okay, Tom and Alex are here. Alex sees that there's only 5 G coin left in circulation, so he buys them for a premium, $500, because Tom could buy them for $100, but there was a little bit of a bidding war there. Okay, and then Tom realized that, hey, I can't afford $500 per coin, so then he gave it over to Alex. Okay, so Alex bought the coin for $500 pop. Now Tom over here, okay, magically came into $50,000, so he essentially outbid every single person for total control of G coin. Okay, so every single person now gave their G coin to Tom. So Tom is technically the owner of 100% of the circulating supply. So he can price gauge whatever he wants to do because he's the market maker, right? He's not a price taker, he's the maker. So he bought, 50 G coin at $1,000 a pop, outbidding every single other person. And so now his total investment was $50,000. And then because he controls the supply and he can artificially, like make the what do you call it? He can artificially make prices. He sold all of the mass majority for $2,000 a pop. So he sold 25 G coins. Or I'm sorry, he sold 50 G coins for $2,000 a pop. So that means he flipped his 50K and doubled it essentially into $100,000. Okay, so he was sitting on 50K profit. Okay, and now all of these people technically have G coin worth $100,000 in total. Okay, so let me just make that clear really quick. So this 100,000, so this entire group is worth $100,000. Then Leonard, aka Leo, over here, the owner of G coin, realizes that his 50 G coin that are in reserve are technically worth $100,000. So he's gonna offload them, right? So he releases them into the market, okay? And then these people are just like, holy crap, this is not as scarce as we thought it was. There's 50 more G coin. We paid $2,000 for something that's not even scarce, okay? So Leonard then undercuts them because Leonard wants to sell his G coin as fast as possible. So he sells them for $50,000, okay, for all of his coins. So Leonard has completely gotten rid of his share. Now he just created $50,000 out of pretty much fucking thin air. The original value of this was 5K. He just 10x'd, technically he just 10x'd G coin through all of these bidding wars and stuff like that, because of artificial scarcity. Then he releases it back into the market just to, sell. He's exit scamming, right? So the price went from 100 to 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 and then back to 1,000 because now there is double the amount of G coin and there's double the amount of G coin and people are not going to be willing to take, that much. Like there's 50, like it's just doubled and there's 50 more and people are not going to buy it for $2,000 because the scarcity was fake. People are going to be like, oh my gosh, we thought the $50 or sorry, the 50 G coin scarcity was real. So they bought it for 2,000, but now it's not as scarce, right? I'm just trying to drill that into your heads. So now there's 100 G coin, okay? And it's worth $1,000 each, which is still a $100,000 market cap. Like that's exactly what we were talking about. But it's not 200,000, which is technically what it should be. So these people over here, they just got fucked. The market cap remains the exact same, by the way, right? I mean, the amount of circulating supply is worth the same. It's just that there's more scarcity. So the price of the coin, the price of the coin went down afterwards. So if these people who bought it for 2,000 a pop were trying to invest into G coin for long-term holdings, they can't anymore because now it's worth $1,000. So everybody tries to sell their G coin. Okay, and this is the final part. Everybody tries to sell their G coin for 500. Take the loss, take some back. They're trying to sell for 1,000. 250, whatever they're trying to sell. Okay, and as a result, G coin just keeps taking down because of fear. And then eventually somebody might buy it back up, sure, but nobody's going to trust Leo anymore. Leo literally controlled 50% of the supply and completely screwed over all of these mass, people. The only people who profited are Billy, Bob, and Joe, Alex, and Tom. And so all of these people, like you and I, all of these retail traders, were just left completely in the dust, right? And so, they just lost all their money. Like they just halved the value. And that's kind of what XRP is heading to. If the company owns 40% of the circulation and they can literally do whatever they want with it, that's concerning. They're going to need to release that eventually. And the market cap is so freaking high. Like $178 billion market cap for what? It's not even a used crypto right now. This is literally just all consumer sentiment. So that's honestly why I do not believe in XRP. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this. Thank you for watching. And I know this was a little confusing. And if enough people tell me to like re-explain this, I can re-explain this in simpler terms. But I think this is pretty simple for now. But just let me know, and you guys have a great day. Bye bye.